watching us here on a fresh new episode of The Weekender on CNBC-TV18, and today I walked down the old office of Tata Consumer Products. It's a heritage building of a heritage company which is actually now looking to become the biggest FMCG company in India. What are the plans, and importantly, how is Sunil D'Souza as a person? We find out in this show. Come with me. Hello sir, it's a pleasure to be here. What a wonderful building. This is what, 100 plus years old?
Sort of, yes.
Wow, that's the beauty of the Tatas, right? Every time you go there, there's so much heritage. I'm told that this thing is something special. You want to tell us about it?
Significantly more than my net worth.
Wow. Looking at your journey, you started out as someone at Lipton, which was an alliance between Unilever and PepsiCo. Then there was PepsiCo for a long time. And you ended up at a place which had an alliance with PepsiCo and Tata's, Narishco, which you bought. Interesting turn of events with some Whirlpool in the middle, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my career with Unilever as a management trainee. Then for a brief period moved to Coke in India. Then 15 years with PepsiCo in Southeast Asia, and that was probably the most exciting learning opportunity. But then TCPL beckoned. Right? And the whole story was that the group wanted to change its foray into consumer businesses. We've got the brand name, we've got the resources. What does it take to change? And that was a temptation I couldn't resist and I've absolutely enjoyed every moment of the ride.
What part of a consumer business is closest to your heart?
The biggest thing about a consumer business is you've got to get both strategy and execution right. Right? I've heard a statement saying execution without strategy will get you somewhere, but strategy without execution will get you nowhere. So in a consumer business, it's not enough to get one or the other right. You've got to get both the pieces absolutely right.
Until TCPL, there wasn't a big consumer story success from the house of the Tatas. I mean, what did you bring from all the learnings that you've had at all the places that you just spoke about?
I don't think it is me. I think the group broadly realized, like I said, we've got the biggest brand name in India.
Yeah.
The four-letter word called Tata. You've got the biggest amount of resources. You've got the biggest amount of trust in Indian consumers. But we've not got our act together either in the portfolio or the distribution or the branding, whatever. So it was not one piece that we put together. The board, the chairman and the board were very, very clear. We have to put all the pieces together and build a premier FMCG company in India. The FMCG business is not complicated. It's only, in my mind, it's three pieces. You've got to have great products and innovation. You've got to have great brands and distribute. All the three pieces, we were significantly behind industry. And when you pointed out to the board and saying, this is what we want to do.
I look at Tata Consumer. Earlier, it was looked at purely as a commodity company. You guys have, with the consolidation, the corporate actions that you've done, tried to decommodify it a bit. And we saw that in the way, the market rewarded you all for it as well. But then come the last 2 years, the vagaries of commodity prices have again made it into a bit of a commodity company. I mean, how are you trying to further decommodify the business?
So Mangalam, like I said, we're on a journey.
Yeah.
I would say we're in very, very early days of where we should be. It's a long way to go. So we focused the last 2 years on building the basic capabilities that are required for an FMCG company. So we put innovation is big. So I've got a great R&D team now, right? And the speed at which we're churning out products is phenomenal. Well, last quarter compared to the year before, we are at 2x in terms of new product launches. Distribution, right? We actually, I would say, we pressed Ctrl-Alt-Del. Yeah. Cleaned it up and started from scratch and built up an entire new distribution system, go-to-market. And we are right now touching about, I would say by the end of this month or so, we should be at 1.5 million outlets touching directly.
Much ahead of your guided March 2023.
Correct. And then the other piece was, we've got the Tata brand name, but we've never advertised or built brands, right? So the marketing team stepped back, put up the entire brand architecture, and now we started powering it. So you see every quarter we are putting a little bit more, making sure that we are putting branding pieces into play. Digital, we were significantly behind. For a group which is known for technology and stuff, we were not quite there. And we built up a digital team from scratch. I would say we are just about average now. We're still not, but we're coming from behind. We've got a long way to go. Now we build the capabilities. The portfolio transformation is work in process, right? So yes, we are still highly tea and salt dependent, but if you look at a percentage of sales, the tea business is starting to come down because the rest of the businesses are powering.
So you are excited about the future, the long-term vision that you have. Can you tell us, if you can quantify, what is it that you would have achieved for you to be saying that, okay, you know, what we've done is amazing and now I can relax?
I think we've got a long way to go for that. Like I said, the ambition of the group is to build the premier FMCG company in India.
The premier FMCG company in India currently by sales is a good 4.5, 5x away from you.
So that's why I'm saying we've got a long way to go.
You've demarcated your India platform, India consumer business platform via your core, which has tea, coffee. Then you have the kitchen pantry platform, which has dry fruits, all of that. And then you have the ready to cook stuff. You have the protein platform, which is extremely new. You have the liquids platform. And then you have the snacking platform. That's what it's called, right?
That's right.
What is the revenue mix of this right now? And what is the ideal revenue mix according to you?
Like I said, right now we are heavily weighted on tea and salt, right? In the India context, tea and salt would probably be 90% of my revenues right now. But over a period of time, I would expect that to come down significantly because the opportunity in ready-to-drink beverages or in mini meals, snacking, etc. is significantly large. We've just started our journey, long way to go. Protein is a platform for the future because globally protein is taking off. India still very early days. We're just making sure we are there when the platform takes off, and we've still got to flesh out our entire play in protein.
Let's talk about the liquid business itself. I mean, you do roughly, what about 150 to 180 crore per quarter in terms of revenues coming in from Narishco. I'm just trying to understand where does it settle once its growth path is defined?
So let me define the opportunity in a different way.
Okay.
You'll see a lot of our competitors talking about a single brand being $1 billion.
Yes, we've heard that.
So if there is a single brand of a competitor being $1 billion, so the runway for us in terms of growth is significantly higher.
So how do you manage to make the product healthy and fun at the same time? I mean, just trying to understand the positioning.
Functional products are gaining ground.
Okay.
The catch is to make sure the functional products also have the emotional connect or the fun element to it. Now, the campaign that we've run, right, it's all about no gas. Right? And if you watch the ads, they're extremely humorous, engaging, right? And therefore, I would want to try that product. And once we figured out, once consumers try that product, they're hooked onto it. So that's one. Second is now we're extending Tata Gluco Plus into more formats. So we've got drinking jelly, right? Simply as a product itself, it's phenomenal. So as long as I distribute and I get my sampling through, then the consumer is there with me for a long time. But simply the experience of drinking jelly and that jelly starting to break in your mouth, I think that is a fantastic feel.
I think you would have got that from your running experience because a lot of runners have that drinking jelly. Just out of context, is it a KRA for people in the Tata group to be runners?
No, I don't think so. It's just that for me, I run early in the mornings on weekdays. Okay. I don't run marathons. But for me, running does two things. One is I keep fit, but more than that, when you're running for an hour, etc., it clears your mind in the morning, right? And then when you come to the office, you're hitting the ground running.
Let's continue our conversation. So, water, you've spoken about that. You've spoken about Tata Gluco Plus, the liquid opportunity, etc. You've not shied away from a lot of acquisitions. There is word that you're on the prowl for Bisleri. Is that true?
You know, Mangalam, the big thing is in India, anything that happens in the M&A space lands up on the Tata tables either at Bombay House or here. and it doesn't take too long for people to put in a little bit of spice and blow it up, even if they heard a whiff of something, right? So we are looking at all opportunities, but I wouldn't comment on anything specifically.
So this was just a whiff that came and there wasn't much spice to it and all of that and stuff, right?
I just leave it at I wouldn't comment on it, right? So we're on a strong wicket organically. We will look at all inorganic opportunities as well.
At some point you will have to look at inorganic because of the 2,000 crore plus cash that's sitting on your book. So this is where the magic happens, huh? This is where you taste your products?
Part of the magic happens because the beverages, we would normally taste the new samples out here.
There is an array of products. You taste 5, you don't like one at all. But that does extremely well in all the other parameters. And you're like, no, I mean, just wanted to understand what is the proportion of your own taste, gut, and how much of that is data?
So Mangalam, I'll give you a secret, right?
Yes.
Products which I like normally don't do well, and products which do well I might not like.
Oh,
this
wow.
is history. But that said, I rely extremely highly on consumer research.
What is the threshold of a gross margin for you to enter new products?
So it's different for different segments that we play in. For example, in packaged beverages, I would say about a 35 to 40 is the right number. Pantry is probably right now it is double digits to about a 20-25%. Spices has to be 30 thereabouts. Soulful and all the mini meals, snacking, breakfast cereals has to be 50 or thereabouts.
A large part of your business, which is international, which is facing a serious amount of macro headwinds right now. How do you deal with that? I mean, what parameters are you looking at? And when do you go back to the double-digit margins that that business was doing earlier?
So acutely aware of the pressure on the international business. So we are doing 2-3 pieces out there. So number one is we've announced our global simplification. Number two, we've simplified to say we have 3 big markets. It's the UK, US, Canada only. Different questions for different markets, but also the background of the simplification. And we're doing structural cost exercise to make sure it's lightweighted. Because whatever cost I release in that business, I will plow it back into A&P, which is one thing which was missing. A&P and innovation was one thing which was missing in the international businesses. We've already started the background work on the simplification. We're waiting for the NCLT process in India to go through. We've started work on the cost structures out there, which will probably be about 3 to 6 months down the line. And we've started pricing up, which is, again, we've got to give about 90 days notice. So I would say about Q4 onwards, you should start seeing the trajectory change significantly.
That makes sense. And on A&P itself, I mean, 6.5%, 7% is what you typically have been doing. And you said that you have been under-investing in advertising and promotion. Where does that number settle at?
I would say in the short to medium term, about a 7.5 to maybe an 8 number is a palatable number. And that will come as we grow scale, as we get more cost leverage and start putting money back out there.
And what margin band are you comfortable with at the EBITDA level, at the company level?
I would say short to medium term, we should be north of 15. Short to medium term. Longer term, you can see our competitors are significantly higher. We need to get to that.
Competitors are upwards of 20, some of them at least. But, just wanted to understand on that itself, how do you compete in the snacking space without entering chips, bhujia, or kurkure-like products? And I'm quoting you from your comments in the conference call. These are the products that you don't want to look into.
So here's the thing. I wouldn't go and play where there are 2 entrenched competitors who have got competencies far beyond what I have, or far beyond what I can build in the short term. And if you look around, food and beverage is a huge opportunity in India, right? So therefore, I would avoid those spaces, but there are enough spaces for us to play in, both currently large as well as emerging.
So I'm just trying to figure out where are these spaces that you're looking at? What spaces are these?
So let me give you one small example.
Yeah, give me a snippet, give me a bite into that.
So Soulful is our big carrier right now into the breakfast, mini meals and snacking, right? Very, very strong brand. Only 15,000 outlets. Now we've grown it to 400,000 outlets, and we've grown 100%, 120% roughly last quarter. We use that story to enter the space of masala oats, right? In 3 months in modern trade, I have close to a double-digit share where I am present. There is a whole pipeline of products based on the Soulful platform which we are going to grow into. And these might include getting into categories which are large, concentrated, but we will get in with a completely differentiated play. So we might not play that whole category, but we will slice it in a manner where we will play a specific end where the consumer is also looking for certain other benefits.
You do see a lot of other competitors doing some really best-in-class things when it comes to selling digitally or having those, data analytics sort of things to optimize and make it a lot more efficient. How heavily invested are you in that?
So just like I mentioned, we've put a huge amount of focus into the R&D and innovation team. We put a huge amount of focus on the digital team.
Yes.
We were coming from significantly behind. Like I said, we are about average right now. But we've got a very clear roadmap to be best in class. So over the last 2.5 years, we've put in a completely new DMS, distributor system. We've got a completely new Salesforce application. So now we've got real-time data of what the salesman does. Now that I've got data flowing, I need to move into the next level of 2 things. One is analytics on the data, and then predictive selling. Like what you mentioned. I mean, ideally, my dream is when the salesman lands up at the outlet, he pulls it up, he doesn't need to do anything. The geotag picks up this outlet, picks up the history, saying last time, by the way, the salesman, this outlet did not buy the Tetley 25s, did not buy the Soulful 100-gram pack, and did not pick up Tata Salt Light. Please do this. And by the way, if you need to offer a special deal, here is an extra deal. That would be magic, because then that takes out the data overload completely and transfers it to analytics, right?
That's exactly what my question was pertaining to. As far as your Sampann and now in Rasa products are concerned, are consumers liking it? Because I've tried a few of them and they haven't been the best in class. Let's be honest out there.
So I would sincerely urge you to try the Tata Sampann Yum side that we've launched in India.
That brings me to my next problem, that not all products are always available at all the stores.
Not yet, because we've just about relaunched this entire space maybe about just about 15-20 days back. We have launched the ready to eat. We've still not launched the ready to cook, the gravies. Those gravies are absolutely out of the world. And I should tell you this, we had a board meeting last month, right? Month of September. And for lunch, the only thing that we've served is either products, and we had not told the board that, we've served products which were either cooked in the gravies, so only the protein pieces were added in the gravies, and or the ready to eat products. And people couldn't make out the difference.
And 5 to 10% EPS accretion on account of these simplifications will happen. Is there any more fruit to be had by shaking the tree a little more?
One step at a time, right? So right now in the short to medium term, we can see that 4 to 5% once you finish this integration coming through. Of course, that's not the end. When you again look a little bit deeper, you'll find more opportunities.
And it all boils down eventually to the return on equity and return on capital employed.
Where we are significantly behind and we've got a long way to go.
What is the long way? I just want to know that.
In the short to medium term, I would target to at least double my ROC in the short to medium term.
Your ideal revenue mix between international and India?
Right now it is about 2/3 India, 1/3 international. I would guess over a period of time, it will probably be in the short to medium term, it would probably be 75-25, because international also will start coming to the party in terms of growth.
Your ideal mix between rural and urban?
Oh, I would want, right now, like I said, we are 2/3 urban, 1/3 rural. Ideal state, I would say slightly longer medium term, if I may, I would want at least a 50-50.
And your ideal revenue coming in from dry fruits?
Right now, my run rate, annual run rate, and I'm talking like a startup, right? My annual run rate is about 40 to 50 crores, just online. And the big business for dry fruits is offline. I've just got to make sure I modify my packaging, my marketing mix, and make sure I provide the packages which the retailers want. We've just about started working with, we'll go to modern trade first and then to general trade. I would say doubling every year, tripling every year shouldn't be a challenge.
Your ideal mix for spices?
Oh, spices, we're just scraping the, opportunity right now. Spices needs to get onto a different trajectory.
It's a 25,000 crore business in
Absolutely.
India. So, I mean, you've seen...
And we've got the Tata Sampann brand name. The catch is there is no significant national brand. There are one or two, but I wouldn't call them national brand because they don't play across.
I agree.
Tata name appears, it appeals to everyone in the country. I've just got to modify my product and my marketing mix to make sure I address the right consumers.
On an average, a Starbucks store does what, 2.5-3 crores of sales every year?
Thereabouts. That would be the number. But the biggest thing that we figured out as we expanded Starbucks is as we get into tier 2, tier 3 cities, we needed to connect better to the Indian consumer on the product, the menu, and the ambience. In addition, the Starbucks global team is very, very clear. India is huge opportunity now. So now the game is how fast can we scale. And if you look at any other market around the globe where Starbucks operates, we are under-indexed.
So suffice to say that the next 300 will come at a much faster clip than the first 300.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're looking at what, 500, 600 stores in the next couple of years as a whole for the country?
We are looking at a significantly expanded rate of store opening, I would say.
And the partnership continues, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is a partnership which has worked perfectly, right? I think the trust between the partners is so immense, and the values and ethics of both the corporations are so similar that it absolutely works brilliantly.
What would an ideal retirement be for you? It's far away, I would presume.
Let me say what my wife tells me.
Yes.
She said, you have to make sure when you retire, you're not sitting around and chewing my brains off, right? You've got to figure out something which keeps you occupied.
When you would have left Tata Consumer, what kind of legacy would you like to leave behind?
I would want to fulfill the aspirations which the group got me here for, which is to build the premier FMCG company in India. If we've done that, and that is across all parameters, then I would be happy.
That would be great. Thank you so much. This was an amazing conversation, Mr. D'Souza.